Welcome to the Non-Wing Worldwide Podcast, hosted by Drake York.
We go to the infield to Drake York.
Thanks a lot, Chip.
This is the Non-Wing Worldwide Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this third edition of Non-Wing Worldwide. I'm Drake York, and a bit of a shorter episode this week. We are recording on Thursday of week of Indy before the USAC National Sprint Car Race at Circle City. And week of Indy, in fact, the past week or so has been long on the USAC National Trail between midgets, sprint cars, and Silver Crown Racing, and just not enough time to secure a guest and have that done in a timely manner. So just racing roundup and race results. In fact, actually no racing roundup. Not a lot of news going around in the non-wing sprint car and midget world. So we'll just jump straight into our race results, starting with the 53rd Tony Hulman Classic at the Terre Haute Action Track for the Amsoil USAC National Sprint Cars. Brady Bacon finally picks up his first Tony Hulman Classic win aboard the 69. Kyle Cummins was second, Jake Swanson third, Mitchell Moles fourth, and CJ Leary the top five. Really good run for Max Adams back in sixth, Emerson Axon seventh, eighth went to Logan Seavey, ninth, Dason Persley, and 10th, Chase Stockton. Brady Bacon led every lap of the feature. Heat winners on the night, Kevin Thomas Jr., Charge and Charles Davis Jr., and Emerson Axon. We decided to change up the format just a little bit for how we present race results. So let us know what you think. If you liked it, didn't like it. We're always expanding on some different ideas. Let us know what you think about it. But also last night, Wednesday night, the Amsoil USAC National Sprint Cars were at the Circle City Raceway in Indianapolis, Indiana for the Circle City Salute. Jake Swanson picking up his third career USAC national win, but quite possibly one of the biggest, as it was his first national win in the state of Indiana after being so good on the local scene for the last couple of years. Kyle Cummins second yet again, Brady Bacon third, Justin Grant fourth, and Robert Ballou rounded out the top five. Mitchell Moles, CJ Leary, Chase Stockton, Dason Persley, and Carson Garrett the top 10. Heat winners on the night, Kyle Cummins, Carson Garrett, and Mitchell Moles. And this past weekend on Friday and Saturday, the NOS Energy Drink USAC National Midgets were in action at the Belleville Short Track in Belleville, Kansas. That is the small track inside the Belleville High Banks. On night number one, it would be Ryan Timms picking up the win on a very challenging racetrack. Jake Andriotti second, Zach Daum third, Dason Persley fourth, and Tanner Thorson fifth. Logan Seavey sixth, Bryant Wiedemann seventh, Jacob Denny eighth, ninth, Cannon McIntosh, and 10th, Jade Avedissian. For heat races on the night, your winners were Chase McDermott in Heat 1, KTJ won in Heat 2, Ryan Timms your winner in Heat 3, and Tanner Thorson won the fourth and final heat race. On Saturday at Belleville, the NOS Energy Drink USAC National Midgets were in action yet again, and be Zach Daum winning his first national race since 2014 for Ramco, as it was also their first national win. So pretty cool for both Daum and Ramco. Jade Apodizian would have to settle for second. Teamez Thomas Meserol in third. Jacob Denny fourth. Justin Grant fifth. Ethan Mitchell sixth. Dason Persley seventh. Eighth went to Tanner Thorson. Ninth, Gavin Miller. And 10th, Brady Bacon. Ethan Mitchell was the winner in Heat 1. Logan Seavey won Heat 2. Mitchell Moles won Heat 3, Tanner Thorson won Heat 4, Jacob Denny pulled off the win in the semi-feature, and Corey Joyner was your C-main feature winner throughout the evening. And on Sunday, the NOS Energy Drink USAC National Midgets would complete a triple-header weekend, this time traveling over to the Sweet Springs Motorsports Complex in Sweet Springs, Missouri, and Jacob Denny would pick up his second career USAC national win for Jerome Rodella and Tom Malloy. In fact, it was Tom Malloy's first USAC national win since Turkey Night back in 2021, so good to see them break the streak. Dason Persley was second, and Teamez would round out the podium for the second night in a row. Taylor Reimer was fourth, Bryant Wiedemann fifth, Chase McDermott sixth, Justin Grant seventh, Cameron Key eighth, ninth, Jade Apodizian, and 10th went to Gavin Miller. Cannon McIntosh, Dason Persley, Brady Bacon, Thomas Meserol, all heat winners on the evening. Also on Saturday, along with the midgets, the USAC Silver Crown Series would accompany them, but just on the big track, the Belleville High Banks in Belleville, Kansas, Brady Bacon picked up the win, and that was a fun race to watch, and had a lot of people talking post-race about the contact between him and Justin Grant. I think that's a race we'll be talking about for a long time, and there was some oohs and ahs throughout the crowd watching that race on Saturday night. Once again, Brady Bacon, the winner. Cody Swanson went quick time, would have to settle for second. Chase Stockton with a great run, got the Engler Machine and Tool Fast Pass towards the end of the race to get back on the lead lap and comes away with the podium finish. Shane Cottle was 4th, Logan Seavey 5th, Shane Cockrum 6th, Matt Westfall 7th, Kaylee Bryson 8th, Trey Burke 9th, and Taylor Ferns round out the top 10. And onto the Extreme Outlaw Midget Series presented by Toyota. They had a doubleheader during the week at the Millbridge Speedway in Salisbury, North Carolina. On night number 1, it'd be Cannon McIntosh picking up the win in the 08. Gavin Miller with a very strong run in second. Chase McDermott rounded out the podium. Briggs Danner, we don't see him a lot in a midget, but he came away with the 4th place finish. Mariah Eade was 5th, Kevin Boschel 6th, Chance Crum 7th, 8th Ryan Timms 9th, Jade Avedizian, and 10th went to Kyle Jones. Nick Drake, Cannon McIntosh, and Hayden Reinbold, heat winners on the evening. And just last night, Cannon McIntosh would sweep the weekend with the Extreme Outlaw Midget Series presented by Toyota at the Millbridge Speedway, picking up the win on night number 2. Taylor Reimer, who won there last year, came away with a good 2nd place finish, coming back from 12th too. A really good charge for Taylor at the very racing Millbridge Speedway. Chase McDermott rounded out the podium. Gavin Boschel 4th, Gavin Miller was 5th, Jada Avedizian 6th, 7th Ryan Timms, 8th Briggs Danner, 9th Nick Drake, and 10th Ethan Mitchell. Chase McDermott, Briggs Danner, and Ethan Mitchell all heat winners on the evening last night with the Extreme Outlaw Midgets presented by Toyota. And on to regional action, we'll start out in California with the Amsoil USAC CRA Sprint Car Series as they were at the Thunderbolt Raceway in Tulare, California. Tommy Thunder Malcolm finally gets his first career win with the series, and he beats Brody Roa, who has had a stranglehold on the USAC CRA series as of late. Ryan Bernal rounded out the podium in 3rd. Austin Williams 4th. Logan Calderwood was 5th. Jace Vanderweerd 6th. 7th Ryan Timmons. 8th Dawson Freya. 9th Brent Sweeney. And 10th was James Herrera. Cody Williams and Brody Roa both heat winners on the evening. It was a bit of a tough weekend for the MSCS Sprint Car Series as they lost a race at the Paragon Speedway in Paragon, Indiana, due to weather and track conditions. It wasn't going to be possible for them to get that show. And so right call there for MSCS, but nonetheless, bummed to see them lose a race. And speaking of losing races in Indiana, it was the same for the MPD Racing Boss Sprint Cars. They were at the Circle City Raceway in Indianapolis last weekend. I believe they got through qualifying and it rained out. But nonetheless, no feature event action racing from them. But they did have some luck shine down on them on Saturday night with a pretty solid car count at the Montpelier Motor Speedway, Montpelier, Indiana. Braxton Cummings would get the win in the 71B. Rip and Ricky Lewis was 2nd. Paul Dews was 3rd. Corbin Hazlett 4th. Scotty Weir was 5th. Tyler Kendall 6th. Matt Goodnight 7th. 8th was Lee Underwood. 9th Max Adams. And 10th was Tate Williamson. Paul Dews, Dallas Hewitt, Ricky Lewis, and Braxton Cummings all heat winners on the evening. On to our next regional race. We'll go all the way to the East Coast with the USAC East Coast Sprint Car Series at the Clinton County Speedway in Mill Hall, Pennsylvania. Steven Trevicki, we talked about him last week on the show about his winless streak getting broken. Well, he just went back to back as he picked up the win at Clinton County over Ed Aiken and JT Ferry. Alex Bright was 4th and Briggs Danner 5th. Kenny Miller the 3rd was 6th. Carmen Perigo 7th. Bruce Buckwalter Jr. was 8th. 9th Dale Swiker, and 10th was Joey Amantia. Schweikert actually with a really good charge. He was the hard charger on the evening, 19th to 9th, a +10 run for him. Alex Bright won it heat race number 1. Joey Mantia won heat race number 2, and Briggs Danner won heat 3. Now time to pound some pavement out west with the NCMA pavement sprint cars. They were at the All-American Speedway in Roseville, California. Shout out to Scott Hall, the promoter. I know he's very excited to have non-wing sprint cars there. Shauna Hogue, good to see her back in victory lane. She picked up the win last weekend over David Diaz, David Burchett, Rod Hammond, and Mark Amador. Shauna Hogue's one of the longtime racers out in California. And once again, so good to see Shauna back in victory lane, especially on the pavement. And sounds like it went good over at Roseville. Scott Hall runs a good show over there. And definitely if you're looking for some pavement racing out in California, Scott Hall's got you covered at All-American. But now we move to a race I think that intrigued a lot of people over this past weekend. It was a special event for the USAC Midwest Thunder D2 Midgets at none other than the Eldora Speedway in Rossburg, Ohio. At the end of the day, it was Matt Lux picking up the win over Stratton Briggs, Bryce Magnusil, Josh Yenzer, and Zach Weigel, the top 5. Luke Hall was 6th, Michael Magic 7th, Chet Gierke was 8th, 9th, Gunnar Lucius, and 10th was Ian Krager. Stratton Briggs, Matt Lux, Wes Pinkerton, and Abby Holden were heat winners on the evening at Eldora. Now over to the Badger State with the Badger Midget Racing Association. They were at the Plymouth Dirt Track in Plymouth, Wisconsin. Jay Sparks was your winner. Cody Wenzel was 2nd. Todd Kluber was 3rd. Dalton England was 4th. And Kyle Stark 5th. Mike Strink was 6th. Daniel Robinson 7th. Brandon Walty was 8th. Chris Bayard was 9th. And 10th was Kevin Douglas. Heat winners on the night included Kevin Douglas in Heat 1, Kyle Stark in Heat 2, and Heat 3 went to Todd Kluver. Now back out west with the Hunt Magnetos Wingless Tour. They were at the Placerville Speedway in Placerville, California. Shane Hopkins, who was actually pulling double duty that night, racing in the wing sprint car, he was able to pick up the win in the non-wing car over Jacob Tuttle and Mark Hansen. They were your podium drivers. Nick Rodfugel, Jared Soares, Brent Steck, Marcus Hardna, Bob Newberry, Sean Arga, and Blake Bauer rounded out the top 10 over at Placerville. And you heard us talk about the boss cancellation at Circle City. Well, the General Tire All-Star Circuit of Champions TQ Midgets, they were also at Circle City, so they also got rained out. But good news for them, just like Boss, they were able to get a race in Saturday at the Bartholomew County Fairgrounds in Columbus, Indiana. Joey Paxton was your winner in the 14P. Matthew Hedrick was second, and Johnny Goff rounded out the podium. Adam Bollard was fourth. Fifth went to Connor Boulding. Ashley Albertson, sixth. Seventh went to Evan Shadow. Eighth went to Logan Rodburn. Ninth went to Jeremy Merrick. And 10th went to Johnny Heidenreich. Heat winners on the night, Johnny Goff and Matthew Hedrick. Back over to the Badger State, the Autometer Wisconsin Wingless Sprint Series were at the Wilmot Raceway in Wilmot, Wisconsin. Ryan Zelski was able to pick up the win over Chris Dodd, Clayton Rossman, CJ Mellig, and Derek Crane, the top five. Then it was Tim Cox, Chris Clemo, Rusty Egan, Jimmy Siva, and Ryan Marshall, the top 10. Jimmy Siva, heat winner on the night, as well as Ryan Zilski, Chris Dodd, and Rusty Egan. We'll start off our local racing action from this past weekend out at the Bloomington Speedway in Bloomington, Indiana. Brady Short picking up the win. Good to see Brady back in victory lane. He's one of the best to ever do it, especially at Bloomington. Harley Burns was second. Nick Bilby rounded out the podium. Then it's Jaden Rogers charging Charles Davis Jr. back in the Midwest on his Midwestern tour. He rounded out the top five. Braxton Cummings was sixth. Seventh went to Matt Thompson. Eighth, Brandon Spencer. Ninth, Gabriel Gilbert. And 10th went to Andy Bradley. Nick Bilby, Charles Davis Jr., Brady Short, and Jaden Rogers, all heat winners on the evening. Over at the Lincoln Park Speedway in Putnam, Indiana, they had an amazing car count, 49 non-wing 410 sprint cars signed in the pits. And when it was all said and done, Jaden Rogers in the 14 was able to pick up the win. Ty Mahaka was second. Robert Ballou rounded out an all-star podium in third. Braden Fox was fourth. Fifth went to Jake Swanson. Sixth, Seth Parker. Seventh, Jake Scott. Eighth, Dalton Chambers. Ninth, Jeff Ensign. And 10th, Eric Gentry. Brent Beauchamp was your winner in Heat 1. Eric Gentry won Heat 2. Robert Ballou, your winner in Heat 3. Braden Fox won Heat 4. Jake Swanson got the win in Heat 5. And Seth Parker capped off heat race action with a win in Heat 6. And for our last race from this past week on Non-Wing Worldwide for episode 3, we'll go to the Antioch Speedway in Antioch, California for their weekly wingless spec sprints. Jacob Tuttle in the 3F would pick up the win. Blake Bauer, I was a bit surprised to see him in a spec sprint, let alone this high in the running order. Former USAC Western States Midget champion. Great run for him in second. Kevin Box rounded out the podium. Jared Soares was fourth. James East was fifth. Anthony Bruno, was sixth. Nathan Johnson, seventh. Mackenzie Newton was eighth. Ninth went to Steve Macchioni, and 10th went to Shannon Newton. Out of the two heat races on the night, wins went to Jacob Tuttle and Blake Bauer. That's all we have for you for results from this past week from around the globe with non-wing sprint cars and midgets. Hey there, race fans. Ever thought about how cool it'd be if your favorite brand was a part of our journey through the high-octane world of non-wing sprint car and midget racing? Well, this 30-second spot could be where they share their story. It's a unique chance for businesses to join the race and connect with our passionate worldwide audience. Just picture it, your favorite product or service getting a shout-out right here on Non-Wing Worldwide, in between all the racing thrills and spills. We believe in making every ad a fun pit stop for our listeners, something they'd look forward to rather than just a regular commercial break. So if you know a brand that would be perfect fit for our racing family, or if you're a business owner yourself, visit nonwing.com and join us in making this experience even more exciting together. Let's get into our upcoming race schedule for the rest of this week. We are recording on Thursday, May the 25th, and there is a sprint car race tonight at the Circle City Raceway in Indianapolis, Indiana. Not one, but two USAC divisions will be in action. It will be the Amsoil USAC National Sprint Cars back at it again for night number 2 at the Circle City Salute, and the USAC Midwest Thunder Speed2 Midgets. Let's now get into our upcoming race schedule from all around the globe when it comes to non-wing sprint car and midget racing. We are recording on Thursday, May the 25th, and there's a sprint car and midget race tonight at the Circle City Raceway in Indianapolis, Indiana. The Amsoil USAC National Sprint Cars return for night number 2 of the Circle City Salute, and the USAC Midwest Thunder D2 Midgets will be in action as well. Over to the Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park on Friday in Brownsburg, Indiana, with the USAC Silver Crown Series and the Indianapolis Raceway Park Midgets. part of the Carb Night Classic, but the Silver Crown Series will run the Hoosier 146 laps around Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park for the Crown Cars and the Midgets. Always entertaining at Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park. Over to more regional racing action, the US 36 Raceway in Osborne, Missouri has the USAC Midwest Wingless Racing Association along with the Western Iowa non-wing sprint cars. The Bloomington Speedway in Bloomington, Indiana hosts the MSCS Sprint Cars. Texarkana 67 Speedway in Texarkana, Arkansas has the Elite Non-Wing Series. Rush County Fairgrounds in La Crosse, Kansas has the Rocky Mountain Midget Racing Association. And now over to local racing action on Friday. In fact, only one local race on Friday night. It'll be at the Gas City I-69 Speedway in Gas City, Indiana. On Saturday, we'll start at the Lake Ozark Speedway in Eldon, Missouri with the Power I War Sprints. Over to the Paris Auto Speedway in Paris, California, where they'll have 3 divisions of non-wing sprint cars. The Amsoil USAC CRA sprint cars will headline. The past senior sprints and the past young gun sprints will be in action as well. Over at the Lincoln Park Speedway with the MSCS sprint cars, Fremont Speedway in Fremont, Ohio has the Great Lakes traditional sprints. Florence Speedway in Walden, Kentucky has the Boss sprints. Adams County Speedway in Corning, Iowa has the Western Iowa non-wing sprints as they also cap off a doubleheader weekend. One of the crown jewel non-wing sprint car races on Saturday at the Anderson Speedway in Anderson, Indiana. It's the Little 500 capping off the week of Indy with the 500 Sprint Tour. Boot Hill Speedway in Greenwood, Louisiana has the ASCS Elite Non-Wing Series. Winchester Speedway, not to be confused with Winchester in Indiana, this in Winchester, Virginia has the USAC East Coast Sprint Cars. Sandia Speedway in Albuquerque, New Mexico has the New Mexico Motor Racing Association Sprints. Ventura Raceway in Ventura, California has the USAC Western States Midgets along with 2 local sprint car divisions, the VRA Sprints and the VRA Senior Sprints. Airport Raceway in Garden City, Kansas has the Rocky Mountain Midget Racing Association. Wilmot Raceway in Wilmot, Wisconsin has the Badger D2 Midgets. Shelby County Fairgrounds in Shelbyville, Indiana has the All-Star Circuit of Champions TQ Midgets. Just one local race on our schedule for Saturday. That's at the Paragon Speedway in Paragon, Indiana. Now over to something I'm really, really excited about. 2 international races this weekend in 2 different continents. And when I say international, I mean just not the United States, because that is where a majority of our races come from. We'll go over to Australia first, to the High-Tech Oils Toowoomba Speedway in Toowoomba, Queensland, Australia, with the Queensland Speed Car title. Should be a good car count over at High-Tech Oils Toowoomba Speedway. And our final race on the schedule for Saturday will be at the Southern Ontario Motor Speedway in Merlin, Ontario, Canada, where the Ontario Traditional Sprints will kick off their season with a special event. And a couple more races on Sunday to cap off Memorial Day weekend. The Double X Speedway in California, Missouri has the Power I War Sprints. Tri-State Speedway in Hopstad, Indiana has the MSCS Sprint Cars. Waynesfield Speedway in Waynesfield, Ohio has the Great Lakes Traditional Sprints. Arclitech Speedway in Vivian, Louisiana has the ASCS Elite Non-Wing Sprints. And finally, Airport Raceway in Garden City, Kansas has the Rocky Mountain Midget Racing Association. That is your schedule for non-wing sprint car midget racing around the world here on Non-Wing Worldwide. That's all we have for you on this edition of Non-Wing Worldwide. Again, a bit of a shorter episode today, and I hope everybody understands why, and I hope you still enjoyed the episode because even though we didn't have a guest and didn't get to share somebody's story, I'm glad we got to share all the stories from the weekend, all the results and things like that. Make sure to follow the Non-Wing Worldwide podcast on Facebook and Twitter to stay in tune with our most up-to-date episode at Non-Wing Podcast. Visit nonwing.com for the full schedule and episode note. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well for clips from the show. And don't forget to leave a worldwide smash on the like button while you're there.